For the fans, by the fans. Welcome to the only Angels postgame show that keeps it real, win or lose. No filters, no fluff, just raw reactions right after the final out. The Golden Stamos is polished up and somebody's about to take it home. A clutch hit, a game-saving grab, or just straight up hustle. We see you. But if you played like trash, you're getting the dreaded Nacho Night Award. We saw the missed calls, we saw the blown saves, the clutch moments, and the disasters too. Your comments are front and center, and yeah, we read all of them. Wanna let loose? Call in and sound off live. No scripts, no suits, no spin. This is raw, this is real, this is where the fans take over. This is the Heady Postgame Show with Todd Fox. For the fans, by the fans.
I'm a fox. My name's Todd.
Hey, welcome into another episode of the Halos in the Infield postgame show. I'm your host, Todd Fox. On this Father's Day Sunday, I'd like to give a special shout out right away to all the fathers out there, including myself, who are there for our kids, there for our wives, there for our girlfriends, there for everybody, including our families, as we do the hard work and put in the time that everybody seems to forget about, and except for this one day. And seems like the Angels forgot about it as well. This is the Heady Post game. We are by the fans, for the fans, for the fans, by the fans. We are with you in the stands. We are not some phony podcast out there that is just blowing smoke up your ass. But with that being said, man, oh man, this is a tough one. And usually, like what I like to do on here before I get to any advertisements, before we get to any kind of awards, I usually come on here and I'll say, hey, you know, this is what happened in the game. Here's my thoughts on the lineup. Here's how they scored. Here's the stats of what they've done so far in the game. You know, here was the who got the Golden Stamos for best player on the field. You know, who made the error that cost us the game and got the Nacho Night Award. And I go through a certain, like, sort of checklist of what I do for each show. And it's something that, you know, you grow over time, and then you get into the comments and you play the, you know, songs, and we have a good time. And that's usually how it goes on here. We read all the comments, we get interactive with you, we take some phone calls, and we call it a night. I'm going to do a little something different here on this Sunday. And, you know, there's no need to really go into the box scores. There's really no need to say, hey, you know, what happened here? How'd they lose this game? How'd it get away? Well, you know, you haven't seen too many blowouts with this team. You really seen a lot of close baseball games. And we can point back to several series, not only getting swept here in Baltimore, but you can point back to losing 2 of 3 to Baltimore. You can point back to losing 2 of 3 to the Marlins. You can point back to the Pirates, and so on, and losing games that they should have won. And the internal argument that we've had on this page and on the channel is, what's worse, the pitching? Because you have some Angel fans saying, I think it's the pitching. If we had an ace, this wouldn't be a problem. Then some people are saying, no, I think it's the hitting, because if we had a few more hitters, that we'd be winning games. Or, you know, we have an outstanding record of 29-10 when they've scored 4 or more runs. We're 4-27 when scoring 4 or less, right? So you have this or 3 or less. You have this records, and you can go back and forth and say, okay, here's what's wrong with this team. Here's what's right with its team. And you can kind of play off that and form your own assumptions and conclusions, right? Well, for me, it is this. I'm completely and utterly frustrated, and I'm at the point where I'm throwing my hands in the air. Like, I just don't care. Because it's really frustrating to watch this baseball team night in, night out, day in, day out. And understand the fact that this team can't get out of its own way. The organization can't get out of its own way. And even when you find players that fit what you want to do, things still don't happen because you have someone else or something else canceling that player out. Saucy said it before. A bunch of other people have said it before. This team, on paper, looks like probably one of the best teams in this current AL West division, which is not saying much, but, pound for pound on paper, they look pretty good. And exceeding expectations, not stat-wise, but pitching performances, has been the rotation and the bullpen. Stats will tell you different. And I'm one of these guys that I'm that proverbial Humpty Dumpty. I'm on that freaking wall. I could lean either way, which means analytics on one side, I could see where it helps, and I could see where it's detrimental to the team. And I could see where the stats itself, the cut and dry, the good old stats that have been there for years upon decades, can help, and where they can also be a detriment to the team as well. I think you need to find a common ground, because you can look at it right now, and I've looked at the Major League Baseball stats, and the Angels are last in stolen bases. They are last in walks. They are last in overall hits. But don't tell that to Gooby or Wayne, because both of those guys are reading from a script and they're like, hey, but they have the third most home runs in all of baseball. Hey. Solo blasts account for 75% of those set home runs. How about runs batted in as a team? 20th out of 30 ball clubs. Therein lies the problem. You can dissect the pitching and say, well, their ERA is really high. And it is. And they are in the 20s as far as a pitching performance altogether, meaning strikeouts, meaning giving up home runs, giving up hits, giving up walks. It doesn't look good. But that's the beauty of, you can do the StatCast bullshit. You can blow all that smoke up your ass, like what they like to do on all these other podcasts. But in the end, it doesn't freaking matter. The only stats that really matter are the cut and dry ones, man. And even those, I'm debunking those right now, because think about it. How many one-run games have we lost? And yes, the bullpen gave up, and maybe in those nights where we lose 3-2, 4-3, we give up 13 hits. But it's like I said before, bend but don't break pitching. Now, it broke off crazy today, gave up 11 runs. But for the most part, this team is a bend but don't break team pitching-wise. If you had a consistent team, which hitting-wise would make a big difference, and I try to say this every night because I do wholeheartedly believe in this, but it doesn't matter what you have on paper if you don't have the right direction. And you have a lot of fans nowadays that are saying, well, coaches don't matter. I mean, look what the Knicks did. You get to the NBA, what is it called? NBA finals or semifinals, and they freaking fire their coach, Thibodeau. But he has a track record of playing a lot of stars, and because they're divas over there, the franchise doesn't want to lose guys, so they're like, hey, you're playing him too much, you're playing him too hard, too many minutes. He's not a good coach long term, and they fire him. Watch the Knicks not even get close to that next year. And it's happened in baseball. It's happened in football. Quick triggers on managers. It's happened here in Anaheim. They got rid of they got Osmus because Joe Madden was so sexy. They had to get him in here. Would Joe Madden have coached different? Absolutely. At the time, I was against Madden because I felt that his progressive ways weren't going to work with this baseball team. And I don't think they did, but I did see the fact that he was being hamstrung after the fact, especially when he went on the podcast tour. But seeing now a guy like Ron Washington, who is pretty much a gamer, like a lifer in baseball, and see the fact that he doesn't have any fire under him, like he doesn't want to run out there and argue calls. He doesn't want to run out there and get ejected. He doesn't run with bunts or anything else like that because his history in Atlanta, Texas, Oakland says different. There's something to it. And what I put on here, and that's why this show's a little different. I believe that the only way the Angels are going to come back to any sort of prominence, and I'm not even talking about a World Series contender. I'm not talking about a team that's going to be regular in the freaking American League Championship, series. I'm just talking about a team that can possibly get back to being over 500 and playing good baseball to where you could be proud of this team. Because I'm telling you, you go to the stadium, you hear about 150 Deos, you watch on TV and listen to do by FanDuel over and over and over. Same thing just gets old, and you focus on the stupid shit over and over and over because what's on the field is not worth your time. I'm over here telling you and trying to talk you out most nights of trying to still watch the team and not give up on the team. But now they've got me bent over that wall, and I'm falling on the side of, hey, man, I just want to throw my hands up and say, fuck this team for a little bit. I need a break. Because the only thing that's going to work, in my opinion, and this is Todd's opinion, this is not coming from anybody else. I'm not being swayed by anybody. I'm not being told what to say. That's always my own opinion when I come on here. And my opinion with this franchise, for it to get back to any similar or semblance, I'm having a hard time saying it, semblance of a relevant team, is you have to blow up from the inside. It is glaringly apparent that nothing in the front office is going to stop the bleeding or help this team get anywhere. The people that they have hired behind the scenes, although if you ask Roger Lodge, and I heard Trent Rush come on the other day, and they're saying, and a fan called in and said, hey, I don't think the front office values this team enough. I don't think they have the right people in place. Trent Rush then cut him off on the AM 830 feed and proceeded to say, and I quote in Trent Rush's voice, well, hey, I don't think that's the right thing to say. You don't come into this stadium like I do every day. They have hardworking people here every day trying to make this team better. And I do believe they have the right people here. They are some of the nicest people. I don't care if you're nice. If your argument is we have the nicest people here, fuck off. Try saying that to $1 billion company or another franchise or someone else that actually does good in what they provide the public. And I guarantee you they're full of assholes in that front office or in the ownership. You can't always have the nicest people. I don't care if they're nice. I don't care who they vote for. I don't care. I just care. I don't care what they look like. I don't care what race they are. I just want the best people in place. I just want the best people that know what they're selling and what they're marketing and what they're making and what they're producing. Don't give me this shit about how nice they are. If that's your argument, then you can go too, because he sucks too. Most of these guys are just talking heads who come on here and they're not allowed to have their own opinions. But Wayne is able to say what he wants sometimes, but then he comes out today, and when they put Kelly Jansen in the ninth inning, why don't they have a position player pitching? Because that's loser mentality. That's bullshit baseball. If you're looking, I don't give a shit if it's 19-2. If you're looking to put a position player out there and embarrass the organization, well, then you're an embarrassment yourself. And I'm quite glad they used Jansen right there. I don't care if he gave up home runs. That's on him for not keeping the ball down. If you fucked up your trade value, well, so be it. But to bitch and moan that you don't have a position player out there, like, that's what I'm talking about. You need to blow this thing up behind the scenes, in front of everybody. It needs to just all go. But it won't. It won't. It's just patchwork Band-Aid, patchwork Band-Aid. And it's going to be like that as long as Artie Moreno owns the team, because he doesn't care. He doesn't care what the fans want or like. If he did, he would get concerts in here that people like. He would not have Christmas in June. He would not be worrying and bitching about not taking an early game instead of making a night game, being detrimental to your players because having them have lack of sleep, having to fly out, stuff like that. Just the little things on Artie's part. And the fact that he meddles too much. Leave the team fucking alone. Then you have too much analytics. See, now, again, I'll go back to what I was going to start at, but I got pulled off track there for a minute. But here's what I would do. Here's what I would do right now, starting right now. If you gave me the keys to your Anaheim Angels right now. Right the fuck now. And if I was promised to be team president, here's Todd Fox as team president with Artie Moreno giving him the keys to the car, and Artie Moreno's going to sit back, drink his jacket, get drunk, and just watch. Right? Here's what Todd Fox does. Todd Fox fires Perry Manassian, obliterates everyone in the front office. Everyone in the front office. Roger Lodge's contract is paid out. He's terminated. AIM 830 is going to get a rework. Trent Rush is gone. I'm keeping only Gubazaw, Terry Smith, Mark Langston. And then we're putting out Indeed hires for public broadcasting on AM 830. That's just the AM 830 side. Front office. I'm firing all the damn scouts. I'm firing everybody related to community relations. I'm firing everybody that even actually the only people I'm keeping are the ushers because they appear to be the only ones that care, and everyone in the parking lot. That's it. Everyone else can get the fuck out and don't let the door hit you on the way out. And as far as the managing side, the team president obviously would be me, so I would have fired him, fired Dennis Cool, I don't care what they do in the public, get them the fuck out of here. Then I would go to the manager side. Ron Washington, pink slip. Johnny Washington, pink slip. And every other coach on this staff, with the exception of Barry Enright, Sal Fasano, and I know I'm missing one other guy. That's it. Everyone else can get the fuck out of here. And I would only plead to the new manager that I'm going to hire that he may please keep Barry Enright. If he can't, show me someone better with better stats. Because again, stats aren't everything, but the fact that we are getting the best out of what we got, which is trash, I think Barry Enright would deserve another chance. But if the new manager said, I have my own guy and here's what he's done, here's his resume, he's a lot better. Well, you know what, Barry? It was fine. It was nice while you were here. I really appreciated your work. But unfortunately, we weren't able to keep you. Wasn't my decision. I tried to fight for you. Good luck. Here's some severance pay. See you later. I would go in with a new GM, aggressive GM, cost-efficient GM, but a GM that would have to blow me away as far as in the conference room telling me, hey, here's my plan in the next 3 years for this team to get to the pinnacle. And here's why I believe it can get to the pinnacle. And here's what I need for it to get to that pinnacle. Okay, sir, then my question will be, how good or how much do you rely on analytics? How much do you rely on analytics? Can you be balanced? And if he says yes, that's a plus in your favor. And then I would go out after I already fired all the analytics guys too, especially that dude from Boston. I'd make sure that fucker doesn't have a job anywhere else he tries to go. I would get the best of the best in here. I would get the best of the best scouts in here. And I would tell Artie, look, just write me a check. I'm going to make sure that we get back to the basics, which is the front office and the internal part of this organization has to be better to get the league and the team or the team and the other teams below it better. It has to start in the front office. You have to be able to scout. You have to be able to get the international players. You have to be able to woo free agents here. You have to be able to know who you're getting. So no more of this, Anthony Rendon's the best on the books right now. He's the best player out there. Yeah, but do you know how he is personally? Do your investigations. That's why I hired you for. Ask a friend, ask the league, find out about him. Let's see if we can get the right Angel players to fit the Angel organization. And then I want that GM, along with a coach that he hires and manager in the spots, to then tell me, okay, how are we going to run this team? What do you value? And if they don't value what I want, then that general manager ain't hired. That manager ain't hired because we've got to make it, hey, we're all on the same page. So I don't want to be preaching small ball and preaching contact, and them saying, no, we don't value that. We want launch angle. Get the fuck out of here. If that's in your opening statement to me, and I'm trying to hire you to be a manager or hire you to be a coach on the staff or hire you to be a GM, and you're saying, well, I need some guy with exit velocity. No, you don't. No, you don't. 21 miles per hour off the bat that finds green is the same as 121 miles per hour off the bat that finds green. I don't give a shit about that. Some of your greatest hitters of all time never hit the ball hard. Tony Gwynn, Pete Rose, just to name a couple. They never hit the ball hard. They weren't home run hitters. They weren't known for hitting a ball so hard it knocked the pitcher's head off. No. They were just good at hitting the ball where the defense wasn't. That's all you need. Yeah, you could sprinkle in power hitters and have them, kill the lineup and score some runs and stuff. But if you have too many guys who think they're power hitters, you get what the Angels have right now. The Angels lead the league in total strikeouts. Let me repeat that again. They lead the league in total strikeouts by 10 over the 29th ranked team, the Chicago White Sox. You lead in the worst categories hitting-wise, and you only dominate in one because that's all you value. Home runs will always come. Hits don't. You have to look for those. Those are harder to get. Now, are you telling me that we're not good enough to do that? But you are telling me by who you hire, by who you get in free agency, that you don't value contact whatsoever. And the fact that a guy like Soler should be batting 250, but he's batting closer to Mendoza because he took an approach of not being contact first in Atlanta and in Kansas City and took it to the extreme with the Angels. Because at least in those spots, they would give him a different game plan and say, okay, shorten up, go to right, go to left, blah, 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 depending on the pitchers. But again, if you don't have the right people in place to then show film, and if you don't have the right guys in place like the analytics crew here currently, who are just shoving spoonfuls of useless stats down our players' throats to where they can't sometimes comprehend. And the game isn't, we don't have the smartest tools in the shed anyway on the overall roster. And you're trying to just shove down. It's like, I feel like we have general math, pre-algebra type Angels baseball players. And our analytics team is like, here, hey, let's throw some hexagons and some trapezoids and all that weird shit that you never use unless you're a freaking builder of a condo. All that crazy ass math, geometry, whatever, right? We're shoving that down their throat and they can't comprehend it. It's too much. Simplify this game. This game is not difficult to understand. It's difficult to play, but you don't need all these useless stats. It's always the eye test. In baseball, how you succeed is being able to read the pitcher, find any kind of flaw in his motion, to see if he's tipping pitches, steal signs. You need to be able to read the ball off the bat. Okay, if it's got a backspin, you should probably charge it. Don't let it come to you on the infield. If it's a fly ball, you got to make that decision in split second. Do I dive? Do I slide? Do I play it off a hop? Can I catch it on the run? You got to, all that stuff can't be taught. The player itself needs to know that and be comfortable with those little aspects. If I'm hearing chirping from the left fielder, okay, he's getting close. Let me call him off. That's my ball. The catcher's got to be able to call the pitch. For most times they're still calling the pitches, but you call the pitch, the pitcher agrees. You take a look over at the runners to make sure they're not getting a big enough lead. And then you got to catch that ball. If the runner takes off and either check him at first or throw that ball to second base. You got to watch the defense to make sure there's so much, but they're shoving so many goddamn things down your throat in this organization to where I think these players are not that they're just not smart enough, because I don't think they're smart enough to take in all this knowledge. They're too young for the most part. You're ruining good careers that could be possibly better because you are putting too much onus on stupid stuff when you should just be sticking to the basics. Let this team learn together to win. And when you're going with these 1-year deals and 2-year deals max with veterans to try to mix in with rookies, you have to play to their strengths. And the Angels don't do that. So again, if I'm team president, I'm over there trying to hire managers scouts, and everybody that's on the same page, and the analytics crew to come in here and be like, okay, we can make it simple, but we're also going to add a few things here and there, but not too much, just in case the situation calls for it. And we're not going to force the manager to do certain things, to scratch certain players. We're just going to give him the benefits of if he does and if he doesn't. And that way, if the manager decides, hey, you know what? I don't agree with this analytics right here. I think we can put Jansen on a third night. Okay, so then so be it. And then if he comes back and looks at the analytics and says, okay, Taylor Ward's not really good against this pitcher, although he's been hot, you know, I'm going to go with the analytics. I'm going to trust them, and I'm going to sit Ward for this game. I'm fine with that. But if you have the analytics straight up telling everybody all the time how to do things, even how to use the restroom, whether to flush or not, that's not healthy. That's not healthy. And again, if I'm team president, man, I'm getting players who will fit the system that me, my general manager, and my manager can all agree with. I'm not just going to hire a person or get someone off of free agency. I'm not going to trade for somebody because he's the best available player. I'm going to trade for that set player that best fits the organization. I'm not going to go out there and be like, oh my God, Wade was DFA'd by the Giants. I've never heard of the guy, but he's been DFA'd by the Giants. Let's take him. No. And again, adding Chris Taylor, it's kind of kicking the guy while he's down because I know he hurt his wrist. He had a couple good games before he went out. But think about it, dude. Again, you need contact on this team. Who does Perry go after right away as soon as there's a couple opening positions? Chris Taylor, an habitual strikeout guy. Lamont Wade Jr., another guy who strikes out a lot. We don't need more strikeouts on this team. Why isn't our hitting instructors not on the same page? Why can't we get that small ball mentality back? Why is it that we're letting guys continue to hang themselves and embarrass themselves like Logan O'Hoppe, swinging on his left leg, just jumping almost off the plate while he tries to uppercut everything? Why is Renifo swinging at pitches head high? I mean, you have all these holes and flaws in these approaches at the plate, but the analytics says they're doing the right thing. So if you have all these managers that have years of experience, that have done great things in other spots, and you come in here and you're just sitting here and you're just sitting back on your hands basically and not trying to change a damn thing, that tells me right there that this organization is not on the same page with who they've hired, and they're just going through the motions, and that they're handcuffed. And again, if this were on the managers completely, I think heads would roll already. Maybe I killed Johnny Washington too much. Maybe he has been told, hey, you can only do so much. You can only do this. This is what we want. This is a team we built. So how dare you try to change it? How dare you try to better it? I think that's where we're at right now as a team. I literally think that we are stuck because of who we have in place behind the scenes. And until that happens, you know, last night, it was a hard pill to swallow losing that game too. And you're looking at a road trip now where, again, Grill Master, and I want to say maybe Saucy, there's a couple others that came on here and said 0-7 on the road trip. And I was sitting there and I'm like, again, I'm about as real as any real Angel fan is. But I do have a little bit of honkish in me, and I do get a little excited at times. And maybe that's me because I fall back too much on, you know, hey, this girl can change. Maybe she's seen the light now. Now we're going to be good. We're good now. That's sometimes my mentality, and it's my fault because I get myself geeked up and I'm looking at it. I'm like, man, had we closed out those 2 series and swept them, we could have been on 9-game win streak. Oh, we're only 3.5 out. Well, look at today. We're now 7 games out. And it happens not only, and the only thing I could feel good about is it doesn't just happen to me. And I'm not the only one that starts to premature honk. But, Swilly, God bless her, she got that job over there with John Boy, and she tries to talk Angels as much as she can over there. And it's so funny because it always pops up on my TikTok or whatever. And I see her on there, and she's like, someone asked her a question because it's like a short for one of their videos. And the guy goes, "Hey, the Angels, could they be a sneaky good team right now? Are they getting good?" And then she's like, "I don't know. I think they are. They're only a game out, blah, blah, blah." And she's giving her take, and she's trying to be like positive, but then she's giving the realism with it too. But my point being is anytime this team gets any kind of like just love from anybody, even John Boy, even ESPN, even MLB, it seems like they just like, oh, pull out the gun, point it at our foot and shoot, pull the trigger. Because that's what they do. You can't, like, that's what makes me so upset and so frustrated. And I get so angry at myself for actually thinking positive, because then I start thinking, man, Rally Chris is saying this team's going to be 3 games above 500 by the time his birthday rolls around next month. And I'm thinking, man, this team probably will be. And he's like, oh, I'm doubling down. I think they're going to be even better than that. And then you start to see, it's like, well, hey, it looks like the Angels have turned the page. You're right, Rally Chris. No. Because what happens as soon as they gain any kind of success, the analytics are like, nope. Let's go back to swinging for the fences. We need that launch angle. Stop trying to make contact. What are you doing? What's a walk? Why are you walking? Think about it. How many times do the teams like the Orioles, even in this series, got a guy on base, took off the second, got it like nothing? Look what happens when they need a run. They bunt, they caught the Angels off guard. They throw it away, turns into a triple. You never know. When you do the small shit like that, you're testing the defense. They have to work harder. It becomes a mental game. If you are helping the defense, you're never going to succeed. And that's why the Angels never succeed, because they always try to help the defense. They never take things into their own hands. They never take what the defense gives them. If they're shading them, still there's no shift anymore, but you basically have a shortstop standing on second base, a third baseman at shortstop. If you have a left-handed batter up, even a right-handed batter, learn how to fucking bunt and bunt it to the left side. Force the pitcher to make a play like what happened today. But you don't do that. And when teams are just aggressively pitching you on the outside, go the other way. I mean, this stuff is elementary. Yet they're making it so difficult that a lot of times I can go through the games that we've lost where we've literally kicked our own ass. Like, we've literally kicked our own ass. Like, we haven't, the other team didn't do shit. And we're over there like, taking body shots and face shots for what? When they could be so much better. And it's so frustrating because, again, you're watching this on TV, you're in there in person, and I've been in the stands with people I never met before, calling a better game than us, giving realer comments than I can. Because you can see it from the outfield, you could see it from behind home plate, you could see what they're doing is wrong. And it's just so hilarious because, again, we're not a hopeless baseball team with really bad talent. There is good enough talent on this team to win games. There's good enough talent on this team to be competitive on a night in and night out. But they don't do it. And it's so easy, okay? Because, look, I understand the Angels are stubborn. And I understand that they're going to sit back and they're going to say, no, and Ron Washington will come on there and be like, we just got to weather the storm. We got to keep going. We got to keep, keep doing things and things will go our way. No, boss. No, we've gone 70 games, 40% or less, a little bit less than 40% into the season. And no, things are not going your way. No, things are not changing. No, it is not working. If you can get your game plan to work one time out of 5 games, that to me is not success. But that's what they're taking it as. Well, we didn't get beat tonight. We lost 4 in a row, but we won tonight. We played our game and we won 3-1. That's not your game. It's not your game. one of the lowest with runners in scoring positions as a team, one of the lowest in batting averages, if not the lowest. You have the most strikeouts, 20th in RBIs. Oh, but you're third in home runs, last in stolen bases. You're like down at the bottom in doubles. You don't value hits. I'm telling you, a lot could change if they were just to say after 70 games, that famous line from that movie, I've had enough and I'm not going to take it anymore. They've had enough and you got to take it anymore. Then change it. Stop being such an egotistical maniac and be like, okay, you know, it hasn't worked. Let's try something different. It takes a man and a strong woman to admit when they're wrong. It really does. So what does that tell me about the organization and the ownership and everybody else? A bunch of pussies. Because even the players have to stick to a script. And when asked about why isn't this team hitting, even when they're asked about, hey, which is, to me is the dumbest question I've ever heard a reporter ask on the Angels. Hey, Zach Neto, Nolan Shannawell, can you tell me the value of having number 6 in the locker room? There is no value. That's the easiest answer. The best value of number 6 in the locker room is him not being in the locker room. Yet they gave contrived answers last year of, well, you know, he has so much ability and he has so much skill to teach us all. You know, we learn a lot from number 6. Sure you do. And I understand that because they can't break code. It's an unwritten rule to throw your teammates and unwritten rule to throw your, you know, partners and Major League Baseball players under the bus. I get it. Because they will kick you out. I get it. But I really wish some of these guys would just be like, yeah, man, we got to do something better. We got to do something different. Because you're not throwing the analytics guys under the bus, but you are putting a target on them. And I rather them deflect towards that because I think a lot of it, about 80% of it, is their fault. Because, again, you've seen what a little tweak does to Zach Neto's hitting. You've seen it with Nolan Shannawell. You've seen it with other hitters. But you still see a lot of strikeouts because although they've changed up their batting stances and they look better and they are making better contact, like Shannawell, I think the game plan they have for him, it's working. But that doesn't mean you need to give that same game plan to what's it, Soler or Taylor Ward. You need to work with them on an individual basis and a game basis. They are not somebody that is going to be, you know, these players aren't going to be guys that you just give a game plan to and say roll with it for a week. Yeah, you have to treat these guys differently. You can't approach them with the same thing, and I think that's part of the problem too. Now I went on a long ass rant, so I apologize. So we might as well just get into the stats. I mean, I'm not going to play any of those fucking sound bites because they lost. They got their ass kicked, 11-2. Mo says swept by Baltimore, pathetic. Spritz me, baby. I can't even do the botanical spritz. I apologize, Saucy. I can't do that today. I really am not in the mood to. I've seen all I need to see from Lamont Wade Jr. He fits right in. I agree. Mario says spritz o'clock. Oh, you two spritzes. How sweep it is. Oh, we're on the wrong side of it. Q Lombardi. I'll play a few sound bites like that. What the hell's going on out here? Another sweep. Also, Marty says, oh no, what happened?
Oh no. What happened? Oh no, how terrible. That's just awful. How terrible. Oh no.
Then you got Happy Father's Day. We suck again. Happy Father's Day again, everybody right there. Marty says, I called for 3 guys not to win a game on the road trip. So far, they haven't let me down. Yeah, I mean, look, what are you going to do, right? Jason Hess says we're fat.
This fat son of a bitch is going to drown us all out.
Just gotta calm down, okay? All right?
He's fat.
Also, Saucy says, I said 2-7 on the road trip. Fuck, I was generous. Yeah, sure were. Grill Master says Gavin fed his dad a yummy tasting nut. Well, speaking of that, I will play this just to make me laugh a little.
Had me fired up. What's going on, everybody? My name is Gavin Carlson, former credential journalist in the LA area. How about a yummy tasting nut? If you don't know who I am, what's going on, everybody? My name is Gavin Carlson, former credential journalist in the LA area. Spent not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 years covering UCLA sports, specifically with the Daily Bruin, writing articles, conducting interviews, all that good stuff. Crack into a good source of protein with how about a yummy tasting nut? I love the nut. Yummy, yummy, yummy. Had me fired up.
There you go. Needed a laugh. Ready Rob says manufacturer runs, play small ball. Yes, that has been the recipe for wins in the Angels' history, but they don't do it now or haven't done it in the last decade. Grillmaster says 0-7, maybe 1-6. I hated you for saying that, but you might be right. Robert says, hey, but we have 100 home runs this season. Exactly. Hey. Riley Chris says, saucy, it's a 7-game road trip, not 9. Marty says, Angels sucked on Mother's Day and showed they don't care and clearly don't give a shit about their fathers either. Mario says, watched yesterday's podcast this morning. I noticed Lombardi was missing. He says, cue Lombardi, damn it. Yeah, I'm sorry. He's been all over this thing today.
What the hell's going on out here?
Rally Chris says 5-1 homestand versus the Mariners and A's, and we just get swept by all Baltimore to start the road trip. Grillmaster says, I would have loved to say Scott blew it today for Baltimore, but we flopped harder than a fish out of water. Also, Jason Hess says, watch wasting a challenge in the first inning, cue Lombardi. This team does everything wrong.
What the hell's going on out here?
Exactly. Robert also checks in with the outfield does not make plays. They make timely errors. They don't timely have base hits. They don't back up plays. Other teams turn singles into doubles. And then also, Robert, to play off of what you were saying, you got noodle arms out there, terrible throws, and they don't actually try to run and steal balls off the wall. They just let them hit off the wall or fall right in front of them. Kroom's car says draft 2 frontline college starters to pair with Soriano. The infield is going to be solid minus the third baseman. Definitely lacking relief pitching. Eric says this team is what it is. It's an average to below average team. They have a lot of young talent, but Washington is killing this team, in my opinion. His lineups are trash. And then also you have his lineups are baffling. We bench Moore, who just got called up to play Renifo at second base and Newman at third. What the fuck? Yeah, it did not make no sense. Every time I see Newman in the lineup, I'm like, well, there's a loss. Saucy says, I feel like my yummy nuts have been kicked up into the roof of my mouth. Joshua says, what the hell is going on? What the hell is wrong with this team? Saucy says, arguing about whether it's the hitting or pitching might be moot. It's both. True. Todd, I would like to cheer you up. Balls in my mouth. Patrick, even that's not working today. 11 weeks until football. Let's get it back on. Also, you got Dan. Why the fuck do we continue to trot out the walking corpse of a batter named Soler every day? He's fucking useless. Also, Marty says, what chance do we have at no squid, no number 6, and we're not going anywhere? Yeah, having both of those guys and then having them both gone, and we're still ass. Alex says, the broadcast is unbearable. Tired of Goofy Gooby. He's fucking cringe. Can't argue that. Krim says Halos, if healthy, are 75 to 78 win team. Maybe shock the world with 85 to 87. If injured, a 90 plus loss team. Luke says, in case anyone forgot, the problem was signed your pal Arturo. Yes, Arturo Moreno is the problem. He's been the problem and will still be the problem.
It's me. Hi, I'm the problem. I'm the problem, it's me. Hi, I'm the problem, I'm the problem.
Yep, that song. Jeez. Also, Mario says, you Todd, and I think most of us, you just can't get over the Angels not playing sound, good, fundamental baseball across the board. Regardless of the players we have, there is no philosophy here anymore. Bunt is a waste of an out. Hashtag Wayne. Yeah, Wayne did say that last year. I'm glad Grillmaster brought that up. Can Todd's better half get him a beer? No man should be down this bad on Father's Day. Tamir 20 says getting swept by a last place team is such an Angels thing to do. Also, Eric Ward says another genius Washington move. Let's play Jansen in a non-save situation in a blowout game It's not like we won't possibly need him tomorrow on Tuesday. Laugh out loud, put the Coke away, Ron. And that's true. They'll probably bitch and moan and be like, hey, he gave up runs the other night. He can't pitch tonight. Luke says sell shirts are going to be steady uptick tonight. Also, Ben Kylo says it really feels like the rest of the season rides on the road trip unless this team flips the switch and starts playing consistent baseball. We may be cooked for sure. Also, Grillmaster says we're getting swept by the Yankees and the cheaters. Robert says everyone's batting average is slowly coming down in the pitching coach's career average. Marty says also Grildo, I feel the same way. These guys suck. Also, Luke says, in case you don't know who I am, this is Luke Johnson, former Halo hunk. Spent 2 years watching this pathetic team. Now I'm on the 10th straight losing season. Guess I need some rally nuts. Now that's funny. That is funny, dude. You just literally pulled that one out of your ass right there. That was pretty funny. Now I got to find that one right now.
On everybody, my name is Gavin Carlson, former credential journalist in the LA area. How about a yummy tasting nut?
Oh, I love it. B-Train says, haven't been a winning team since 2015. Shake my head. Heads need to roll. Mario says Angels were almost a dynasty after 02 to 010 or 2010 of winning and making the playoffs. What, in your opinion, changed with the team and the ownership? I'll tell you right now. What changed was they got rid of everybody that Disney put in place. And that was everyone that was behind the scenes that they valued. And they started bringing cheaper and cheaper and cheaper talent to run scouting, to run international players, to GMs, to everybody. You went from Bill Stoneman and to just leftovers after that. Yes, the organization from the inside died while the skin on the outside was still being preserved. And then eventually that was gone as well. So I think that's what happened. Kylo Bumpin says not 7, not 8, not 9, but 10 losing seasons. Eric Ward says Madden said the analytics nerds were running the show, which ultimately got him fired because he knows actual baseball. And that's the problem, Eric. We can resurrect Pete Rose with all his knowledge. And Pete Rose would be told to sit down and shut up, even though he knows more baseball than we've forgotten, or he knows more baseball than any of us will ever know. Jesus says the postgame show is all about reality. I love it. Thank you, Mr. Fox, and what you bring along with the other true Angel fans and Halo hunkers that are full of that are not the true Angel fans, not the Halo hunkers that are full of crap. Sorry, sometimes I try to read too fast, but thank you for the compliment. Marty says, did they just smash the confidence in Moore again with this guy not getting in a bat today? Probably. It didn't help. Good, bad, or indifferent. Once Socha left, so did the soul of the team. It did, because that did piss off a lot of people in the front office that were still right there. Marty says, fire the security guard, Klaus. Mario says, something behind the scenes happened to suck the soul out of the team. Q Lombardi.
What the hell's going on out here?
Maybe it was this. Wait. I had to play 2 since they only scored 2. Bring back Socha right there. Also at Trash Halos, Todd Fox for president. I wish. Signing in from London, Kentucky, the city that got hit by an EF4 tornado just 4 weeks ago. Be safe out there, my man. Marty says the whole organization will blossom once Artie goes. Book it. Saucy says, I love the young core, but every team loves their young guys. The Angels farm teams are the worst in their divisions. Full rebuild, sell everything. Kikuchi is a $63 million man. Also, you got right here, Marty says the only thing keeping the Big A is Artie's bourbon for all the Heady boys and fans. Robert says if one player could hit with a pitch, hitting the other way for this team is impossible, apparently. Also, Luke says the front office is a fucking joke. Perry can't develop players. Look at the non-first round draft picks. Only hits are Ben Joyce and maybe Silseth and Dana. What about international signings? None. Exactly. Other teams are reaping the rich rewards of dipping into international players, while the Angels, outside of Ohtani, and only getting Ohtani because the Dodgers couldn't have a DH at the time, thank you very much, he played with the Angels. Other than that, he'd be anywhere else. And you think about this too, with this team being the way it is, missing on so much pitching. Because it's one thing to have. I mean, we're not even like, again, you got some hitters up here. You can say, oh, Hoppy came from another organization, but you did draft Shonawell, you did draft Neto. But think about it. I mean, it's been few and far between. The jury's still out on Moore. So Moore could be a bust. He could be a hell of a player. Who knows? But what, like he said, what pitchers have they developed? None. Tony C says, that was very pathetic series. We are in trouble against the Yankees. Mario says, Halo honks dig the long ball. Josh is getting close to my checkout point of the season. Last year was May, so there's improvement there. Mario says, what's Gavin takes on these nuts? Oh, we got into that already. Frederick says, if I recall correctly, so should fine players for hitting home runs in spring training. He wanted them to learn how to get base hits. Exactly. Do we have anything like that? Nope. Also, we need a few signings from down under. These Aussie players play to win and don't give a shit if we offend your attitude. We have Narrow saying, I darn knew it. Angels are raising my blood pressure. So he's pissed off right there. Also, Josh says, can Perry do something good other than a couple decent picks? We'll have to see. But, he signed that extension, so we're stuck with him. I think Bigfoot is available as a free agent. I heard he can mash the ball, but will disappear with runners in scoring position. Q Lombardi.
What the hell's going on out here?
Also, Dimitro says, swept by the Orange Birds, worst team in the AL East. Love being a 500 team. Dimitro says, and we're not even 500 LOL. Also, Josh says, Mike Trout is a genuine ass. He belongs on the bees. Robert says, I think the owner is making a lot of the calls. Yep. Rally Chris says, Astros came back to sweep the Twins. They are 7.5 back in the West, and the Mariners are winning 5-0 now. Botch says, Halos have a prime location, eager and supportive fans, and a city behind them. If Angels ownership doesn't want to win here, then let another team come in, or the city start their own MLB team, or just sell the fucking team. Robert says, we all get geeked out at times, and then we get swept by teams we shouldn't get swept by. And that's true. Also, Demetrio says, I'm going to call ICE on behalf of the Angels roster. Eddie says, take in calls. Well, all right. Well, here I'll put the link here. And if you guys want to jump on, just click the link and you can jump on here with me. So there you go. Botched says, watch Angels get swept by the Yankees. Josh says, should have known this season was a mirage after Kyron Paris fell off. And I was rooting hard for him too. They put absolutely no pressure on their defenses. That's true. I was 1 for 0. I was 1 for a 0 on this road trip. So he was calling for winless. Even Bob Seeger says the Angels can't turn the page. Here I am on the road again. There's a lot of baseball left. Boy, he's pulling his best gooby right now.
We got a lot of baseball left to be played, and the season starts tonight.
Marty says a yummy tasty, but nuts would be more enjoyable than watching this team at the moment. Botch says listening to Terry Smith and Langston is becoming more difficult because Langston not so much today, but they were saying Trout DHing on this trip is a good thing awaits when Trout returns to the field. I'm like, nope. Well, I love it how every time they do something bad, Mark Langston comes on and he's all, fans, check out the next homestand when they have 800 drones. And he quickly just reverts out of talking anything negative. So Midapi says, I love losing to a team with a sub 500 record. Mo says, I don't understand why Newman is still on the roster. His contract is sunk cost at this point. Just cut the fucker. I agree. Got to get rid of any kind of dead weight, and he's dead weight. It's also the unwritten rule to be this shitty, Jason S. says. Robert says Trout will never be 100% again. I'm sure he will never be in the outfield again. It's close right there. Jason says Ron Washington is Ozempic. Was on that Osmic. I know it's something to do with prescription drugs. Botch says, love your rants, Fox. They are truth and need to be said. I appreciate that. Midapi says Father's Day gift is a New City Connect hat, at least one that's on sale. Cue blackouts. Also, Angel says it's having a series like this where they still look at the team and decide to buy at the deadline. Idiots. Yeah, where's Randall Grichuk this year? Mario says, if I had a son drafted by the Angels, I'd tell him to play in Japan, pull the whole NFL move, and avoid a shitty organization. Rally Chris says, Todd, I don't know if Patrick is there or is here in the chat. I know he, oh, yeah, you already told me about that, but that can't make me happy today. Angel says, we are the Rockies and the White Sox, just without the historical bad record. Mario says, Gavin, speaking of a good source of protein instead of nuts, I'm going to a Korean barbecue tonight for Father's Day. Have a good one, everybody. I'm out. Enjoy yourself, Mario. Please have a nice, safe Father's Day. That goes to everybody out there. Enjoy your kids. And if you're a kid, say what's up to your pops, man. Tell him how much you're thankful for him being in your life. Camfrey says the complete rebuild is a great idea, only to get Artie on board, and I highly doubt he'll ever agree with that, because he's going to ask how much it's going to cost. Yeah, well, that's why it's hypothetical. He, in an alternative universe, Artie is like, this asks for the money and I will write the check. Jason says, love to hear how much Todd hates the Angels. Can't wait to hear how much he hates the Seahawks. Whatever, dude. Angel says, already brought the team for $180 million. Bro, you made your money. Fucking sell. Why complain each season about losing money? Thank you. This team is worth like $3.5 billion after paying $180 million. You do the math on that one. Isaac says, put the thong on. We need to reverse this. Jason says, being a part of an older Angels fans perspective, we get so mad at this team because we've seen this team be better. Unfortunately, Artie doesn't care. Doesn't matter who coaches this team. Also, Minapi says, I was going to take off work for the Boston or Astros series, but come to think of it, I'd rather save my money. I think so. Be wise. Probably take your family somewhere nice. Spencer says, Orioles are not a bad team, just a good team that was playing badly. But you still got to beat them, though. And my boy LA says, hey, Todd, didn't watch the game, but glad I didn't watch glad I watched the World Series, College World Series. Those guys have more drive than the Halos. And you'll see that even on the college softball, tournament and World Series. they play with better hustle. Jason says Ron told Moore to sit on the bench and watch and learn how much we suck more. Saucy says, I don't think this team's competitive window is any place in sight. Neto and company will be free agents before they have a chance to get it together, unless they add $100 million in what do you call it? What's that called again? Because he puts AAV but on the team. Patrick says, I know it'll cheer you up. Not today, Patrick. I'm sorry. I apologize. I am really down today. Hey, Todd. Oh, yeah, I already watched that one right there. Already saw that one. Ron Washington also spritzes on his grits. Jason says the whole decade has been a mirage. Joshua checking in with, I don't know how much I can handle with this team. Marty says, can you let us know how Papa Fox felt about this series loss, please, Todd? Okay. I'll do my best dad impersonation. And this is what he did for all three games. My dad came on and he was telling me this. He said, I don't understand how this team flirts with 500 and then proceeds to lose games over and over. It's like they don't want to win. And then he was saying, this team just doesn't know how to win. They strike out too much. And then when he had the bases loaded today's game, he goes, oh, great. We got Adele. And who's that guy again? I said, Lamont Wade Jr. He's that Lamont guy sucks too. He goes, I wouldn't be surprised if they both strike out. And then all of a sudden he's like, 3 balls, 2 strikes. Let's see what happens. Oh, he struck out. There it is, Todd. I told you. And then Lamont comes up and he's like, this bum's going to strike out too. Oh, there it is, Todd. I told you. So I'm sitting there like, oh, please, dude. This is worse than watching the game, is my dad calling the shots and then proving me he's right and then rubbing it in my face. So I did not enjoy the game today with Mr. Fox as well. Not happy. Rally Chris says, now I'm going to have to hear my annoying Astros co-worker tomorrow about the first place team and how we got swept. That's the plight of being an Angels fan. Jason Hess says, put a big A back to White at this point. I'll try anything for good luck. Robert says, thank you, Fox, for telling the truth about this team. I appreciate you, Robert, for being on here as well. Am I crazy for wanting Lugo in the bigs instead of Wade? No, you're not, Josh. I really don't think Wade belongs up here at all. Before we do and move on real quick, 714 tickets, 714 tickets, 714 tickets. I got a couple sponsors to talk about. Tired of paying service fees and taxes for tickets and concerts? Well, guess what? There's an alternative, and that is 714 Tickets. Yes, 714 Tickets is the price you see, is the price you get. Ron Holt has set up this website for you and for us as Halos in the Infield fans. And by putting in HITI in the promo code, you get 10% off of your purchase every time. Not just one time when you sign up. No, every time. And not just for the Angels, not just for the Dodgers, for basketball, football, hockey, and concerts. Use the 10% off HITI code as much as you want. Isn't that great? Plus, you get 5% more of savings off of your purchases for future purchase of tickets going forward. 714 Tickets is awesome because, again, the price you see is the price you get, and you don't pay all these crazy service fees and taxes. If it's $28, well, guess what? It's $28 plus the 10% off you get by using Halos in the Infield, HITI, at checkout. So what are you waiting for? 714 Tickets, 714 Tickets. Tell them Halos in the Infield sent you. Max Market Pros is also one of our sponsors, and they do a great job. If you have a small business, if you have something that's trying to get off the ground, but you're having all sorts of problems getting it off the ground, just like that rocket in that feature right there, it will take off once they get a hold of your business to help get you to the next level by using their certifications on Google to get you to the top of the search engines. Also building you a professional, beautiful website to help other customers gravitate to your business and what you can do for them. Make it easier on the customer, makes it easier on you. That's what they do at Max Market Pros, and as well as they do the great job of helping you out with social media, because it can be a bitch at times, and they're there to help you out on this Father's Day or whatever other needs that you need. Contact them at maxmarketpros.com, and they will give you a free consultation on what they can exactly do for you, if I didn't explain it too right. So with that being said, Gavin's going to have balls in his mouth and nuts. Also, I was going to buy the Angels Battle Pass, but it's not worth a 25-minute drive. Also, Marty says, we love Papa Fox. Then you sound like Mr. Burns with your dad impersonation. I was also told I sound like the principal from Fairly Odd Parents. But that, if you meet my dad, if you ever see him at a game, he does talk like that. He'll start off very, very timid, very, quiet, and then something will get him excited and he just goes off. So he'll be like, hey, Ty, when I was younger, he'd be like, hey, Ty, I need you to take out the trash. Can you take out the trash for me? I'm like, yeah, I'll get to it. No, you don't do it when you want to do it. You do it when I say. But this the way he sounds, man. It's like I couldn't help but laugh, and he must have thought I was so, I was laughing at him. But it's just the way that he would go from 0 to 60, or I'd be like, we'd be in the grocery store, and at the time we didn't have much money, so my dad's pinching pennies as usual, and I'm just trying to throw a candy bar on the cash on the little belt right there, going at the cash register at the store, and he's like, okay, this is $26. I think I got this much right here. And he's counting this stuff as it's going on the register. And then all of a sudden, like out of the corner of his eye, he catches me throwing a chocolate bar. And he goes, what are you doing with that chocolate bar, Todd? I'm like, I want a chocolate. Do you think you can afford like 50 cents? Because it's 50 cents at a time. He said, I don't have that kind of money. It's like, don't say that out loud. It makes us look stupid. And my dad just doesn't give a shit. Full of embarrassing moments with my guy, but I love my dad. I'm glad I still got him because, man, I swear to God, dude, he makes things so crazy and so much fun. But man, he's been annoying over the past, but I'm sure he's told me too. I've annoyed him in the past and stuff. So we have a much better relationship now. But believe me, I used to piss him off too. So it's a give and take with us too. Tamir 20 says Lugo and Paris are better than Wade. They sure are. Jason says, Todd, I want to come down for the softball tournament. When is the next big tailgate? We've kind of gone dry this month, but I think we're going to have a lot of announcements coming up for July, and we're going to need people to register too. So I don't know if I'm going to do an email on that sucker or we're going to fill out the rosters, but we're going to need to make the best team possible for our softball team, possibly have 2 Halos in the infield teams. So we're looking for that. We'll give out free shirts. We'll have some food. We're going to have a good time. And I will give you a date, Jason, so you have plenty of time to come down here. So I'm trying to lock in. I'm just waiting for my friend to get the okay for the field. Once we get the field okayed, I will put the information out there with at least a month in advance so that everybody can come down and have a good time. Because believe me, I want to meet as many of our fans as possible. I want to have a good time. I want to have a beer with you guys. And I want to be able to, pass out some free stuff and some goodies and have a good time on the baseball field, man. I love baseball, whether it's softball or baseball. Let's see. Patrick says, watching the Angels this year is a fucking fleshlight. You're constantly thinking what you do to it to get to this point. It's funny. Bad comparison, but relatable. Angel says, Todd, there's nothing to be said anymore about this team. Just play all the sponsors the rest of the stream. Also, we need a tailgate at the Fox house just to listen to your dad. I got to get him on the mic with us again soon because it's been about a year or two since I had him on. Jason says it's like Napoleon Dynamite not affording the 24 pack. Yeah. Also, Joshua says, I want to play softball. Let me know. Yeah. Like I said, it's going to be either at the very end of July. So I give everyone at least a month in advance, or it's going to be like the first week of August. Hopefully it's not too hot. We don't want to be playing on a Saturday or Sunday when college football's on. So we're going to try to beat the college football in the NFL season because if anything, if worse comes to worse, it's just spring training or spring football. And by that time, the Angels will be hopelessly out of it. So, that's what we're looking at. And again, I'm going to try to put together a package to where if you register to play on the team, if you could put down $10 or whatever you want to donate, I'm going to try to have the package ready for everybody so that everybody gets free shirt. Everyone gets free food, and then we, obviously we're able to have the baseball field paid. So, it's going to be fun, dude. I really want to do this. We're going to try to have a tournament to where it lasts, and it's going to be in the evening time, so don't worry about it. We're not going to be playing around 12 o'clock. We'll have the lights. So likely, I would have to say it would be something between 5 and 9, and we'll play. We'll try to get like at least 3 games in, meaning if we have 6 teams or 4 teams, we could play a tournament. And that's what we want to do. And if we could do that, maybe we could, if we have enough people, because we have a couple other podcasts that are sneaking in here too. And if it's big enough, we could have as many as 8 teams and playing on 2 fields, do 2 tournaments, go an hour per game. Everybody plays at least 2 games. And then the winner probably plays that 3rd and final game to win the whole thing. So that's what we're looking at right now. It's all in talk still, but we did it before. But we're going to try to make this one a lot bigger. And again, it's a community thing. So not only if you live out way up north like where Demetrio lives, or if you live out of state like Jason does and others that listen to this page, if you can make the time, if you can come down, great. If you can't, you're there in spirit. Believe me, you're there in spirit. We love all you guys and gals out there that support us. And if you can come down just to cheer, that would be great too, man. That would be amazing. An age limit? No, there is no age limit. I just don't want anyone to get hurt. So like if you're 13 years old, I've seen 9-year-olds that can hold their own out there. If you can hold your own, if we could see you in practice playing your ass off and we don't have to worry about a line drive hitting you in the head, stuff like that, then I'm not opposed by letting kids play too, but it can't be one of those things where it's like, oh, give the kid like 10 pitches or, oh, he'll hit it one of these times or she'll hit it one of these times. And it's going to be unisex. So like, again, people like Courtney who played college softball to just every day or every weekend softball players, or even, girls that just like softball, but they play good. I just don't want no one to be a liability out there to where they can get hurt. Other than that, if you had to play, if you have a handicap of some sort, I'm not opposed to that either. But just know that a lot of these guys are going to take it, and gals are going to take it serious, and we just don't want no one to get hurt. So as long as you can play and you can keep up, hey, I have no problems with you or your son, daughter, or anyone else playing. It's all about having fun. It's all about being in the community. And again, hey, our team may not be good, but I feel that our page and everyone and our fans are good. They're not passing the sniff test. I'm not shoving analytics down your throat. You guys are the best because you're the best. That's all it is to it. And so that's what we want to do. And we've done a couple of these tournaments before. They turned out really good. And I actually had a cook from Rock and Brews come down and make food before. That worked out. So we'll do it again. And like I said, we're working for a bigger event this time. And I will say that the leader in the clubhouse right now is going to be the field in Laguna. So if it's a little far, I apologize, but it's off the 5 freeway and it's just south of Irvine. And last time we did a tournament there last year, it wasn't ours. We kind of got in with Top Fan Rivalry. That's who would be a co-host with us this year. And they set up a really cool deal, which they gave discounts to what is it called? To the pizza place, which is right across the street. So we pretty much mobbed everybody over there and we had an after party. So even though we had food at the stadium, we went over there too. So it was pretty cool. So it looks like I got to get going here as the missus is like, we got to go. And so I think we're having like a Father's Day thing or something going on right now. So I appreciate everybody, being on with us today. It was obviously a frustrating game, 11-2, but we'll move on and we'll see what happens in New York. I'm not calling an 0-7 road trip, but I'm going to play my honk in this one, and hopefully things are different. LA, thank you so much for the super sticker. Really appreciate that. That goes back into the page and helping us get more merchandise and having tickets available for fans that can't really go and stuff like that. So happy Father's Day to everybody out there. Have a good rest of your day and try not to think about the Angels sucking. We'll see you tomorrow.